Everyone, my name is Kendrick, and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today, I get to interview Klara. So, Klara, welcome.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you live? Because you have an accent that.
Oh, I'm in Poland. So yeah, English is my second language. So yeah, sorry if I sound weird or whatever.
No, it's fine. But your accent didn't sound Polish. It sounded like something else. That's why it threw me off a little bit. You know.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was like, I don't know, maybe Irish or something. But anyways, it's fine.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So, Clara, you got typed by Dave, right? And what was the typing results that you get?
My unofficial type, right? That's double feminine, SIFE, blast, play, consume, sleep.
Gotcha. So you're an ISFJ. You
Yeah.
are an extroverted ISFJ, and
Yeah, the most.
he did the typing over the phone when you did a phone call, or how did he type you?
Oh no, he just offered to do me this favor and watched a couple of my videos on my channel.
Okay.
And he didn't say that was, official or anything. It was like more like trying to narrow myself down or something. So
Right. I think I didn't know that you are a YouTuber. What's your YouTube channel?
oh, it's called A Large Aviary. I will send you the link.
Okay, sounds good. I think Dave does go to like different YouTubers and he does officially type them, kind of like
Yeah.
like he'll watch the videos and then he'll type them with Chan and and so I think yours is probably as close to official typing as it could
Yeah,
be.
I definitely agree with that type, so yeah, I guess, they know their stuff.
Yeah, I think they take most people right from what
Yeah,
I've
I
seen.
think so too.
If they make a mistake, usually it's like just one or two letters, like kind of in flip or something.
Yeah.
So what did you think and how did you feel when you got your type back from Dave?
It was pretty cool. Like, I've been into op for about a year before, getting the type back. So I was through everything. I, of course, typed myself as NT first or whatever for
Right.
a time. So, but then I kind of started understanding how the system works and everything. So when I got that ISFJ, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, and it was kind of a closure for me, I guess, because I was like very deeply into op for that year. Like it was like daily listening and learning. So when I finally got that type, I had this sense of certainty that was like very welcome.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Um, you said that you spent a year, studying op and whatnot. You are an info dominant because you have consume and blast in the first three animals. So talk about how important is it for you to have the most accurate information?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't, yeah. I guess I can only see that as compared to other people. And it's like when someone does not respect information as much as I do, that kind of comes out. Like in me, that because I get angry, like how dare you not know this or not want to research it? It's like, oh, you. So yeah, it's important, definitely.
You also have masculine TI. So
Yeah.
if someone's being illogical, is that something that would bother you if someone said something that is not true?
I guess that depends, because a lot of the time, if there's a topic that I don't have a personal opinion on, I'm like, I'm gonna swallow up anything anyone says because I just don't really care to, dissect it. But when someone's talking about something I'm actually knowledgeable about and I have an opinion, then yeah, I'm going to definitely notice how things just don't make sense. I'm going to fight people on that.
Right.
But I don't think I have this like all the time. So, and also my TI is like non-activated function in my stack. So yeah, I think that plays into it.
Sorry.
It's you.
It's not you. I'm just kidding. So because you're info dominant and because you have masculine TI, how do you react when someone lies to you? You know, when someone's lying to you, how would you react? Because a lot of info dominant, they don't like it when people lie to them, you know, because they're withholding information or kind of twisting the information. But how do you react to that if someone were to lie to you?
You know, that depends, I guess. Because there are some situations where I detect it and I'll just let it slide because it's not important to bring up. And other times it's going to be like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, I know you're lying, so I'm just gonna call you out on it. But
Yeah.
it's not, it's more like I'm slightly offended that someone would think that I'm so stupid not to notice that they're lying rather than being offended by the lie itself, you know?
Oh, I see. So you think it's more like they're insulting your intelligence, kind of.
Kind of, yes. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
but at the same time, you know, it's sometimes it's not important. Sometimes it's just like, I know it's not true, and so what?
you're also an IJ. So are you freaked out about chaos? Is that something that like would freak you out? Is chaos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I guess it's way more than I would like to admit, honestly. But when I'm in it, when there is some kind of chaos happening, and most of all, when I have created it, that is the worst thing ever. It's like I am in pieces.
Can you give an
uh,
example when you created the chaos?
you know, it's like so to give you an example, I run a shop, an online shop, and so my responsibility is to make my customers happy, right? And so sometimes, so I do everything that I can to make them happy, but sometimes things happen outside of my control that create chaos. Like, for example, you know, with the COVID situation, there were big delays in post office work. So some pieces were taking like, I don't know, 2 months to get to the US or something. And so my clients come back to me asking what's going on. Uh, you know, there's chaos and everything. And I'm like, I'm really like scared in that moment because I know that this is something that I cannot control, and it's the kind of chaotic situation that I can only like let my customers know that I hope things will be good, but I cannot know that for certain. So that's like kind of, that's a freak out for sure.
Yeah, I think though, but like any business owner would freak out about that though, because they want to deliver good customer service, and then the product can't be shipped because you know COVID is happening. Like what can you do, right? You're really powerless in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what you say, right? You say, well, I'm powerless because COVID is happening. So what do you expect of me? And I'm like, oh my God, if I could actually deliver that parcel in person, I would, because I'm that, you know, just tense about it. Because things should just go according to plan. And if they don't, then I'm screwed.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess that would be like the IJ like freak out, you know, because you're no
Yeah,
longer in control, so you lost control essentially. Um,
absolutely.
okay, you do have blast first, and so talk about your what is it? Double feminine blast. So you
Yeah.
have feminine SI, feminine FE. Talk about your double feminine blast. What is it like? You know, how do you experience it?
Uh, I guess it's this kind of a subtle thing of checking in with people and seeing how they're doing like in the moment, so I can kind of mold myself to the situation so that I can know if they need, I don't know, help with, I don't know, maybe lifting up their mood, or maybe they will need help with, I don't know, doing something. or I don't know, it's really hard to say because double feminine is kind of, I would say it's a little elusive. Like even to me, I'm not really sure how it happens in the day-to-day life. I guess it's just like kind of being in touch with what's happening around with people around me. But when it comes to what Dave and Sean talk about, which is like, blasting is teaching, then I do have that streak in me. I love teaching people about stuff that I know about. Uh, and I do it in this very free flowing kind of style through, asking questions, just talking with people. Like I used to be a tutor in English, and the way that I taught was like just through conversation, like very unstructured, even though SI on top, right? But it was like very free flowing. So I guess maybe that's my double feminine blast. I don't really know.
You also have SF blast. So are you going to be like teaching people like, hey, this is what you should value. This is what's cool, or this is what's like, popular, like, is that something that you would kind of like enforce people? Like maybe if you have customers, they ask you, hey, what should I buy? Which one should I buy? I don't, what do you sell in your online store, by the way?
Excuse me?
What do you sell on your online store?
Oh, I sell vintage clothes.
Okay,
So
so
that's very SF.
the customers ask you which is like the best, like the right one to buy, and then you give them a recommendation, because then which is like the nice one, or like the good one to buy.
I guess I know what. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Uh,
SI chaos.
uh, I guess I know what's nice and what looks good on someone, but I'm like, that's feminine. So I'm not gonna push that on people, I guess, unless I'm like personally convinced that something's like really great. And yeah, but mm, so I don't know. It's more like I am aware of what people like and I will adjust myself to that rather than tell people what's nice or what's good. Like on my channel I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about, and I posted this one video talking about perfume, and it felt really weird just talking about what, you know that SF thing. It was like, no, that's not something that I can do really, because it's just like I don't push likes or values on people. That's not what I do. I used to kind of be more um on my high horse when I was younger, but I definitely toned it down.
Can you how were you in your high horse when you were younger?
I guess it kind of stems from the way that I was brought up in an environment that was valuing things that were very not sensory. So it was like, you have to value things like intelligence or depth or soul or things like that. And then the sensory world is just stupid and shallow and you should disregard it. So I was kind of uh, regurgitating that to other people whenever I saw someone who was really like valuing the sensory world, like typical SF stuff, like I don't know, clothes or perfume or whatever. I would be like, that's stupid, you shouldn't do that, there are better things in the world to do, right? But yeah, I kind of learned that that's probably not the best thing to tell other people, because it's like, why should I be, why should I be better than you and know better what's good for you?
Did you have like NF hippie parents or something?
I guess, yeah, my mom is pretty enough.
Oh, okay, that sounds like you have like NF hippie parents for some reason.
Yeah.
You have Savior NF though. Your play is NF. What is your Savior NF play like? You know.
I guess, it's like I just really enjoy NF topics and like psychology or things like, up, right? And other things like intuitive stuff. So I used to be a lot into like the occult and like tarot or magic or stuff like that. So and just talking it out with other people, just doing these things together. It's like that's something I really enjoy. So maybe that's it most of the time, I guess. I don't know.
And what about your consume? You have NT consume. Like, how do you like to consume like nerdy stuff, like sciencey stuff? I don't know.
Ah, that's like I don't maybe like I guess, nerdy in a way that is pop culturally nerdy. So I don't really know if that's because I like science is something that's interesting, but I've never really gotten into it
Yeah.
like full on. But maybe that's just, something that's waiting to happen as I, get older and develop and just tap into that and consume. But I don't think like except for like studying MBTI or OP or other such systems, if we can call them NT, then I don't know.
You also have double masculine consume. Your NT is double masculine. So maybe do you like to consume the reasons for something? Is that something that you like to consume?
Reasons. Yeah, I guess if you want to convince me with something, you better have a good reason. And if the reason is like good NT backed up, like backed up by that kind of stuff, I will definitely buy into it. Right? That's a good observation, I guess. Yeah.
If you're reading a book or watching a video and you're in the zone and someone disturbs you, do you get really like aggressive? Because I find that
Oh, I hate that.
yeah, okay. So that's where your double masculine is coming from then. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's hear your story. Yeah. Your eyes lighted up when we said that. So okay, let's hear that. Okay. So
Yes. Yeah.
okay, when you're watching a video, a book, tells your experience when like someone disturbed you, and then how did you react?
Oh, well, I'm FE, so I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay. But if someone does it all the time, then I'm going to finally just tell them off and tell them to please respect my time. Because yeah. When I do consume, it's like I'm all in and yeah, and I definitely don't want to be disturbed. And yeah, I will just basically pretend to listen out of sheer courtesy, but I would probably not even listen to the person who has interrupted me.
Nice, good. That's a good example then of double masculine consume. It's like when you are consuming, you're in the zone. Don't talk to me. Go away, leave me alone. Like this is my time. So good.
Definitely.
Because I interviewed Amanda yesterday. She's an ESFJ and she had double masculine. She's an ESFJ, so she has the same functions as you. And also when
Yeah.
she's consuming, it's like nope, don't disturb me when I'm in that like researching zone.
Yeah.
I have double masculine sleep, right? So
Oh,
I get really
right.
aggressive when people wake me up or like when I'm resting. Like hey, go away. This is my zone.
Absolutely right.
Okay, so good,
Yeah.
good. There we go. That was a really good one. Let's go with your sleep. Your sleep last. Your sleep is also ST. So what is your ST sleep like?
I would say it is figuring out what works for me, like in life, in the physical world. It's like the funniest thing. Like, I with my current line of work, I only got into it like 2 years ago, and before that, I was doing a lot of stuff that was like honestly not suited for me.
Like what?
Like I was a designer, like graphic designer. I used to do desktop publishing, stuff like that, and it was like nerve-wracking. I was very unhappy doing it, but it kind of never occurred to me that maybe this just is not what I should be doing. So kind of STing that was figuring out that actually what works for me is this completely other type of job that requires definitely different techniques and like different treatment. So yeah, that's and I think that's an ongoing theme in my life, like learning what actually works for me versus what I believe is going to work for me. Yeah, because I don't stop to process things in the moment. So it takes me a long time to figure out that, you know what? this is not giving me money, or this is making me super nervous and unable to really work, or whatever, right? So yeah.
Do you kind of like look back in the past and kind of like think, okay, this didn't work for me, this didn't work for me, this worked for me, this didn't work for me? Like, is that like something that you do then?
I guess when it comes down to it, when the time comes, that's what I would do. Like figure out that it's kind of what Dave and Shan have been talking about, that you do different things in your life, right? And then you kind of go back and narrow down to the things that you enjoyed or that worked for you, right? And then you cross the rest off your list. And it was kind of the same for me with this current job that I'm doing.
I'm
I just
I have my sleep is SF, so it's SIFI. So for me, it's like
yeah
it's the same as you. We both have SI as in our functions,
yeah
but me, I look kind
yeah
of look into me and I think, okay, I did this in the past. Did I like it or not? No, I didn't like it. Did I like this in the past? No, I didn't like it. So it's like FI. So do I like it? Do I not like it? How did I feel when I did that? But for you, it's TI,
yeah
right? That's what I'm wondering. It's like, is it similar in the sense that you're looking in the past and kind of like sorting through like the events that happen in your life, and you're like, okay, I didn't like this, didn't work for me. This worked for me. This
yeah
doesn't make sense. It's like you're kind of like going through like the almost chronological order of like your timeline, if your whole life, and kind of like understanding each pieces to see which one worked, which one didn't work, which one made sense, which one didn't make sense.
Kind of, yes, but I think like the end result in my case was just basically just being able to observe and see what it is that works for me, or that something doesn't work for me at all. Because I was doing graphic design for like 10 or 12 years.
Wow.
It never occurred to me that it doesn't work. Like it never occurred to me that I'm not earning enough money, that I'm, not getting enough assignments or whatever, to sustain myself, to live like a normal adult person.
Yeah,
And so I guess I don't know where is your sleep placement?
I'm the same as you. I'm sleep last.
Your
Sleep last also, like you.
sleep last. Okay. All right. So does it work like that with you, that you would know, because you're FI second, so you would know in the moment what you like, right?
Well, David Chan told me I can use my sleep even though it's last. They actually didn't want to type me sleep last. They're like, you can use sleep, but you're info dominant. So we wanted to put you as sleep third and consume last, but you're info dominant. You're obsessed with info dominant. So you are sleep last, but you can use it, which is weird. They're like, yeah, like we don't know how, but you can use your fourth animal. I'm like, sweet. I thought that is a big compliment. Because I think like for like us, we're working on personal development, growth and stuff, and when someone compliments you that you can use your like fourth animal or fourth function, you're like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
like the biggest compliment in the world, right? So for me, I'm like, whoa, sweet, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
but
that is cool.
but like, yeah, I mean, but it's not gonna be the best. Like Dave still tells me that I'm terrible at um, prioritizing what I need to do in my life. Like he said,
Oh yeah.
just because I can use it doesn't mean like I'm good at it. I have access
Hmm.
to it, which is good. So I've been trying to practice it better now. It's been hard, but it's work in progress. I do want to get better at it so I can be better at prioritizing. I do notice that I lose more than I win. Like I pick the wrong choice more than I pick the right choice. And like especially that now that like COVID happened, and when COVID happened, Dave said that the world has been put to sleep mode.
Yeah.
So we're all sleep processing now, and like I'm actually looking at my prioritization. I'm like, okay, like I know this is the right thing to do, but I don't do it enough. Like I don't do the right thing enough, and it's kind of like it's kind of bad. Like it's bad. But it's work in progress. At least I can see it. At least I can see that I'm doing I'm picking the wrong choice. So it's so hard. It's so hard to pick the right choice, even though I know it's the right choice. Like, so prioritizing is definitely an issue for me that I need to work on. So right now I'm in the awareness phase, but I need to work on the executing on that awareness. So
Yeah,
um, because you're sleep last, like I am, one of the
yeah.
things that sleep last people have problems with is setting boundaries with a tribe, and you're also tribe above self, right? So tell talk about your struggles with setting boundaries. So let's say like you have a friend or family member that's now toxic and is like, you know, affecting you in a negative way. Um, you know, where at what time do you get to the point where you finally say, hey, you know, you say no, or you cut them off, or like you put that line? When does it happen for you?
Honestly, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean that definitely is a bit of a struggle, but at the same time, I guess I have a different mechanism for it because I don't really want to cut people out of my life. I don't think that's how I roll. Instead, I'm just going to, I'm just going to do the FE proper way, which is okay, we can stay in touch, we can like be friends or we can be a family, but I'm going to distance myself from you. Just never hear anything about me anymore. And that's it. It doesn't really bother me all that much because I don't know, like it's just putting on a facade, something like that, for the other person. I don't really care, we can talk, that's fine, but I'm just not gonna reveal anything about myself to you, and that's it. This is not the most honest way probably to do it, but I guess it's kind of worked for me in a way that I I get to choose who I spend time with this way without kind of hurting anyone's feelings or something, So yeah,
I think that's where I see that your FE then is that like
yeah,
feminine. It's making sure there's harmony within the
yeah,
groups. And you know, I don't have FE, I have PE, and I have double masculine. So when I put that boundary, or I set my boundaries, it's really
yeah,
aggressive. I cut people off, so it's really really aggressive.
yeah,
Um, so, but it's interesting to hear your point of view of what your boundary setting is like, especially as an FE person, because you have FE as a function. So it's interesting to see that. Yeah, you know, I'll put a facade that everything's fine when really it's not. But I just won't engage with you, you know, and that's fine.
yeah. And that's, I guess it's a little bit of that double deciding also.
Yeah.
On my part, it's like, uh okay, so I'm not that important in myself, so I can just bear with other people because it's not really hurting me so much. I don't know. That's the DI third. It's kind of, I guess it's weird. It's not like, it is an identity, but it's not like 100% you. I don't know. That's how I feel it. Like me as a person, that DI, it's more of a project rather than me. Like I'm not really super tied to it.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. No, for me, it's completely different. Then,
All right.
like you offended me, you crossed the line with me. This is personal. I'm taking this personally. You know,
Oh,
so
okay.
so it's a little bit different. But yeah, that's good to hear that. Like I guess for someone with TI, it's not personal. You know, it's not personal. Um, you're a project. You're I guess you're like your creation. It's not like a you know.
I mean, I would not generalize it. I guess it's a very like it's a very me thing. I don't know if that even works for other ISFJs or people with identity third. I don't know. So it's just like that's me. That's what I do.
Gotcha. No, it's fine. It's a good clue at least to
Yeah.
because there's not many ISFJs that in op, right? There's like I think there's three of you. So um
A couple, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Have you spoken to the other ISFJs that's been officially typed in op?
Oh, yeah, no, well, yes, we do kind of keep in touch from time to time, but I have not really like talked to anyone, online, like via whatever,
Facebook?
video. Yeah.
Oh, not by video. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see your double decider though. So you're pretty balanced with self and tribe. Still being like a double decider. Um, let's talk about your NE. So you have NE last, but it's double activated. So, and it's also masculine. So
Yeah.
do you feel like because it's double activated, even though it's fourth, you're more aware of like that's the chaos that's coming from the future? Even though it might still be hard to use because it's still fourth, but you are aware of it because it's activated twice. So whether that be when you're consuming or when you're talking to the tribe and they're telling you like what's bad is gonna happen, or like when you're researching and then you discover the bad thing that's gonna happen, like
It's interesting because I guess I used to focus on the bad outcome when I was younger a lot. And I was like, I would be very adamant that this is going to happen because, masculine, right? So I know that this is going to happen. But I guess I was able to kind of loosen up about it and come to this understanding that there are parts of the world that I cannot really control. So yes, you have to assume that something is going to happen because everything that you do has its consequences, and sometimes things just happen for no apparent reason. But that's okay, you can still kind of power through that. You're not going to die, so that kind of perspective has helped me. But I think that masculine thing has shifted to when I have kind of connected the dots, like did the intuitive thing.
yeah.
I'm going to stick to it like a silly person, even, if someone gives me a good reason why this is probably not right, or maybe you should think another way or something. I'm just going to be like, no, because I have arrived at this conclusion, and no one's going to move me from here.
You are sorry because you're an IJ, but it's kind of like you have feminine SI, but IJs are known to not like change. So
Yeah.
talk about like your resistance to change.
Hmm. That's that's a big question. I don't have a ready answer to blast.
Well, let's just
uh,
share your story where like, for example, earlier you talked about how you work in graphic design for longer than you should have worked there. So that already shows like an IJ usually would stick something for way too long. Maybe they needed to research another career path, but they didn't do it. They stuck to it instead. And
yeah.
by the time by the time you change, you realize you wasted your time. Um, so talk about like, resistance to change when you should have already changed to something else. Or is it just the graphic design stuff? Is that the biggest example?
No, I'm sure there are like numerous examples. It's just that I'm so in it that I cannot see it.
Right.
But yes, I definitely do overstay in situations, like maybe in relationships also. It's like I'm just pushing away this moment when I sit down and really think what's going on, and if it's good, and if it's working, and if it's beneficial or not. I push it off as much as I can. And so yeah, I guess that's it, because I just keep like kind of being in the moment with it, and just don't decide, because things can change. Maybe they will change on their own, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, I don't want to go and change things about myself too much, I guess.
So you don't want to change yourself, and you're hoping that the external stuff is the one that changes, and then
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
that's interesting to hear
Because
from.
I can adjust. I'm feminine on SI, so if a change comes, I'm going to adjust to it, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to, push things to change.
Now, because you are an IJ, when you're dating someone, do you find that you're dating EPs usually? Like, do you end up with EPs?
I would say IPs, I think. Although it's hard to say, I'm pretty sure some of them were EJs also. I
Oh,
love EJ.
so you've dated all over the place then. Like, it's kind of
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yes.
got it. I have two last questions for you, Claire, and then we are done the interview. So the first one is, what advice can you give to your fellow ISFJs who are not using their NE to, you know, prevent chaos from happening from the future by doing the research, whether that be talking to the tribe member or doing their own research? What has been your experience since you're double activated with the with the double activated play, and you have double activated NE, so you're kind of like, you're less likely to have that chaos tidal wave than your other ISFJ, brothers and sisters. What advice would you give them?
I would say, well, do what you're supposed to do, just prepare, but mentally, like make sure that you know that at any given moment, anything could happen, and whatever happens, well, unless you die, you're gonna do it. You're gonna make it, you know. I think that was something that I struggled with for a very long time, just acknowledging in myself that I can make it, that I can manage, you know, that I can just do stuff, whatever happens, because, you know, because you can sort of adjust to situations, you can learn new things, you can change. Yes, like when the situation calls for it, you can move, you can change, you can learn something new and start doing something else, and you know, you can just you just can deal with stuff, and that's okay, you know. So it's okay to let things happen. You don't have to worry about it, because when it does come, then you're going to adjust accordingly in the moment, but you cannot really prepare for every situation because there are too many possibilities.
I think when you were talking about that stuff, I just pictured myself like doing like a workshop for IJs, like all the IJs are sitting in the seats, and I'm taking a vase and I'm like smashing it on the floor, and, and then I'm thinking, and all the IJs like, whoa, and I'm like, hey, we can just clean it, and
Yeah,
it's okay. And they're like,
yeah, exactly.
wow, it's like, and we can just buy another one. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's really, yeah, that's something I really definitely had to learn, that, you know, things happen. It's okay. We can clean it up and buy a new vase, right? Yeah,
exactly,
that's
yeah,
great.
exactly. Yeah, just it, it's fixable. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah,
My,
definitely.
my last question for you is: do you have any question for me about functions that you don't have that I have? Like, I have FI, I have PE, or maybe I can answer more about NE or SI with you. Do you have any questions about functions?
Uh, Sorry, you want me to ask you about some function that I don't have?
Yes, yeah. I mean, do you have any questions about those functions? If you don't have any
Yeah,
questions, okay.
yeah, I would really be interested to hear about FI as a function as it pertains to values. Like, how do you know your values, and you know, how do you stick with them by them?
Well, like the way David Chan talked about it, it's like you have a range of values, and then like people with FI pick the value that makes sense to them, right?
Yeah,
Um, my mom, I think, is an ISFJ for sure, like 100%. Um, she's freaked out about chaos. She's also freaked out about, like, if she can't control you, she's freaking out too, right? I think my mom's
yeah,
also masculine though, and I think one of her values, I think, growing up, she's always said to us, it's kind of racist. It sounds horrible, but like, I grew up in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, like I was born there. I'm Chinese, but in the Philippines, it's kind of racist where, like, if you're Chinese, you're not allowed to date a Filipino. It's really messed up.
oh,
It's
okay,
it's not bad anymore. Now it's like fine, but
yeah,
like when I was a kid, that was like the case, right? So my mom would always say, you know, if you're gonna date someone, make sure you date someone that's also Chinese. You can't date a Filipino.
yeah,
Or like, you can date a white person, but you can't date a Filipino. I was like,
Okay.
I'm like, that's so racist, you know. I value, you know, I don't, that goes against my values, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I think as a person, you should be authentic to yourself, and you know, if you're attracted to that person, it doesn't matter what race they are. You should just date them, you know. Like, I don't think like
Yeah.
the race of the person you date matters at all. You just date whoever, you know, that you resonate with, right? Um,
Yeah.
so that's like one thing where it's like that's the tribe value that she was enforcing in the tribe, and I'm like, nope. And then no one actually listened to her too, which is, you know, kind of like interesting. Where you're like, yeah, you're kind of enforcing these values, but no one wants to listen to these values because it doesn't make sense. This values doesn't make sense. Um,
Yeah.
so that's like one example that I have. Like for me too, it's like another thing that my mom values, like, okay, you should get a job that is like, you know, like a job that you should have, like a, you know, work in a bank or be a doctor or whatever. So those are like kind of like the stuff that she would value. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, I listened to her when I was a kid because I didn't know better. She's like, you should be an accountant. You know, that's a terrible advice because that's like an IJ advice, right? Be an accountant. That's an IJ job. You know, be an accountant's an IJ. I'm an EP. You know, I shouldn't be an accountant. That's horrible. Uh, it's terrible advice, but you know, like I didn't know that till later on. Like I went to accounting, obviously. I was actually okay at it, but it wasn't the right fit, you know. So I think that's how I'm using my FI. I think I realized when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't know what I wanted to do at that time, but I know it wasn't accounting. And
Yeah.
so yeah. So for me, I
Yeah,
always
that's interesting because you were aware of that. And when I contrasted with my FE, I was like told ever since I was a little kid that I should go into arts. And I never questioned it until I was 33, you know? So I was doing the artsy thing
yeah.
because I was told I was supposed to. And it never really occurred to me that maybe I'm not a good artist, maybe I'm not good at what I'm doing, you know, until it did.
I think with TI though, eventually you saw that it doesn't work for you, right? So it eventually you do have the filter. You still have the filter, even though it's third. It's still there, and you can still use
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it just took you longer to get there, right? Like for me,
Yeah.
like it took you what, like 14 years or something to figure out that you shouldn't be an
Something
accountant.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, I didn't know. I knew right away I shouldn't be an accountant. I knew like 2 years in that I shouldn't have been an accountant.
Yeah.
But for me to find exactly what I like, it took. I wasn't until my 30s, so it took me 12 years to find out what I wanted to do. So
All right. Yeah.
yeah, like it took me like to find out that I want to be a travel blogger, a travel YouTuber,
Yeah.
and now like the ENFP stuff, like the personality stuff. I knew this when I was 28 already. I already knew that I wanted to do this. I don't know why I didn't pull the trigger, but I already knew I wanted to do this. I think I just didn't think I just saw myself doing YouTube. I think that's why I didn't do it. But I knew I wanted to do something like this. So that's the FI for you.
Yeah.
All right, Clara, thanks for doing the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So bye everyone.
Bye bye.
And